Hi everybody, this is Ospreyeye from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at some stocks that were in play on Friday. Okay, these are stocks that were up to close the week. So let's take a look here at the stocks that were doing well on Friday. Okay, so first up, here's ROKU. Okay, so this was really nice follow through. It made the big move on Thursday. On the 9th, it had the big gap up open, and then it ran up to the high, the all-time high, which was from back here on the 29th here of September, and then it broke above that level on Friday. So there was a gap up open, and now there's a space in between high of day on Thursday and low of day at Friday. Notice that the share price ran way up above 36 and then pulled back, forming a long upper wick. So what we're thinking now is the candles could possibly work their way back into the band. If that happens, look for this gap to fill. The key level to turn to support is this previous high, and then down here you have EMA4 at 27.20. If it fails to push higher, we're going to be looking for potential gap fill. To the upside, it needs to break that all-time high. It is on a blue sky breakout here. If you look at the 15-minute chart, you'll see here this is the 2-day move, and it had the big gap up open. It ran nicely, was strong the entire day on Thursday, had the gap up open on Friday, and then it ran up, made a high, pulled back, and then it hit that level and formed an intraday double top. And so, we put out alerts. It was double topping at 36, and then it just proceeded to have a downtrend following that setup. So now it's in a downtrend here on the 15-minute chart, and so it needs to break above this red descending resistance line. Notice that the close was below the middle Bollinger Band, currently at 3495. It needs to get back above this 35 level in order to keep the uptrend going. If it fails to get above 35 and you see it drop below 32.95 here, below 33, then the 50 SMA down here at 31.20 will be the first support level. That's the green line. If that support level fails to hold, you could see a drop down here to fill the gap, a drop down to just about 29.50 down here fills the gap. Yeah, really nice 2-day move for ROKU. If it can't get above 35, it could pull back and fill the gap. Okay, let's look at EKSO. This stock made a really nice move on Friday. Congrats, everyone. We had a lot of people in the chat that were in this play, so it finished really strong. Good job, everyone. It did break above that 100-day simple moving average, so that's at 150. There hadn't been a close above the 100-day simple moving average in many months, and so that is the key level to turn into support. If you see the share price pull below 150, that could signal possible consolidation. Notice the close was well above the upper Bollinger Band. So you would have EMA4 way down here at 126, and then you have the 50-day simple moving average at 117. There is a gap between a high of day on Thursday and low of day on Friday. So this is trying to get a new uptrend going. For this to be a good play, it really needs to stay above that 100-day simple moving average. It could consolidate, then it would make a nice bounce play as long as that uptrend continued. Now to the upside, the big target's going to be this 200-day simple moving average at 216. If it could turn that 100-day moving average into support. So nice move for EKSO. We're going to see if it can keep this uptrend going. It's got a nice start here and on a giant volume spike. Okay, let's look at KBSF. Okay, so this stock made that big move last week on a giant volume spike, and then it pulled back on Thursday. It had that nasty pullback. It opened way up here at 14, and then it just pulled back the entire day. It pulled back, but it didn't form a bearish reversal pattern. You've got the bounce on Friday, and notice it was holding EMA4. So even though it had that dramatic pullback on Thursday, the chart actually still stayed bullish. The close above EMA4, that puts the candles above all the moving averages, still riding EMA4 support higher. If you look down here, there's the 100, 50, 20, 200, and 300-day simple moving averages, and then you have EMA 13, 8, and 4. So it's currently trading above all the moving averages. Now signal the chart's cooling down will be if it drops below 548. If you see it drop below EMA4, then you could see this 300-day simple moving average tested at 426. You really want to see it stay above that level now. To the upside, you want to look for a break above the closing price on Wednesday. That's at about 825. And notice that there was huge volume on the up day, and then there was still a big volume spike on the pullback, but not as big as the up day. And then with the smaller volume bar on Friday, it shows that the sellers have tired, and the long lower wick on Friday's candle shows bounce players taking positions. And so if we look here at the KBSF 15-minute chart, you can see that really awesome move on the 8th. That was with huge volume behind the move. And then it came down and topped out right here. It formed the climax spike. Notice the pullback from high of day. And then this candle right here, the close below EMA's 4 and 8, that was your signal the chart was broken. And then notice that the share price continued all the way down till it hit down here on the 300 simple moving average. So it came down, it held support down here at 463. The 200 simple moving average is lined up at the same level as well, and so those are the bottom moving averages for stocks that are on breakouts. And so always look for a reload at that level if support holds. It's the bottom. It's usually, if it holds, you're getting that low re-entry. And so now the key is the candles on Friday closed above EMA's 4 and 8 and above the 50 simple moving average, above the green line. And so that close above the green line is signaling more upside potential. It needs to break that closing price at 315, and then that would signal that it wants to head higher. And then you've got the closing price on the 9th here at 1215. That's the next key level to break. If you can get above both those levels, it should get running again. Now to the downside, if it drops below that 50 simple moving average and below the middle Bollinger Band, that's going to be a signal it's not ready to go and it's still consolidating. And then if it drops below the 200 and 300 simple moving average, that's a signal the chart's broken. To the upside, we would be looking for a retrace back to this previous high if it stayed above the moving averages on the 15-minute chart. Okay, let's look at VKTX. Okay, this stock made a really nice move on Friday, closed up 25%. Notice at 61 on RSI, there's still room to run until overbought levels. This stock can head higher above 70 on RSI. Notice the big run above that level. So the chart's heating up, and there was a big volume spike on Friday. That's what you want to see when a stock is breaking resistance. And the big move was the close above the middle Bollinger Band. Notice that the lower wick on Friday's candle has filled this gap here after the gap up open. So there's no unfilled gap on the chart, which is good. There's not a reason for the market makers to pull the price back to. And so now the next big resistance level to break is the closing price here on the 20th, and then the upper Bollinger Band here at 302. If it can get above this 3 resistance zone, that's going to be the signal that it wants to break out higher. So yeah, keep an eye on it. We've got the 8, 13, and 5 down here starting a MACD bull cross. And then if you look at the weekly chart for VKTX, you can see it's got a really nice uptrend going on the weekly chart. Down here it broke above the middle Bollinger Band and the 50-week moving average. That signaled that there was a new uptrend starting, and then it got above the 100-week moving average, and then it's just been riding EMA 4 support higher. It's been staying above that level. It closed right above that level 2 weeks ago, or right at it, and then this week it closed well above. And so now the closing price on the 3rd week of October at $3 is the key level to close above for the week. If it can close above that for the week, that's a signal that this uptrend is still really strong. And for the longer term swing trade holders, as long as candles are riding EMA 4 support higher on the weekly chart, that's a really good longer term swing trade. And so the next key level to break is going to be over here on January 2016, the closing price. If it can get above that, that's a signal that it wants to head higher. So this is a really nice uptrend. It's nice to see the big volume behind the move. That usually signals that it wants to head higher. It's filling the jar back to this previous level in 2016. So you've got the jar fill going on, and so this is going to become the top of the jar. It's a really key level. If it can break above it, then that's going to be a signal that it wants to break out to those higher levels. Okay, let's look at DELT. This had a nice close above 50 on RSI, so now it's back in the bull zone. It's heating up. You want to see Fasto get back above 50. Plus DI bounced off of minus DI, and so this chart it has basically, it's been in this long sideways pattern basically, you know, breaks below a little bit, breaks above a little bit, but it's pretty much been the sideways pattern for the last few months. And you know, the bottom of the pattern is down here at the bottom of the channel, and it just recently bounced off the bottom of the channel, and right now it's in the middle of the channel. And so the top is up here where you've got the 300-day simple moving average at 143. You've got the high close here from October the 24th, and then you've got the 200-day simple moving average at 154. And so if it can get above this high close here, right about 150, and then get above the 200-day simple moving average at 154, that's going to be the signal that DELT finally wants to break out higher. If it hits those levels and it fails to break it with the close above, that's just going to be a signal it's hitting the top of the channel, and it's a signal to lock in gains, and then you'd be looking for a reload. The reason why this looks interesting kind of is because it's above this 100-day simple moving average and the 50-day simple moving average. It closed right at the middle Bollinger Band at 129. It needs to close above that level and turn it into support. You know, so just keep an eye on it. If it breaks above 150, it could get moving higher. And then take a look at MTBC. This is a bounce play. So notice that it had multiple red candles in a row. So it had 5 red candles in a row, and then on Friday it formed bullish engulfing reversal pattern. So this is a nice, very strong reversal pattern. Usually you get follow through with this. The red flag is the long upper wick on Friday's candle. So notice it pulled back. Those are profit takers, and it closed right below the pink line, which is EMA 4 at 256. And so it has to close above EMA 4 to head higher. If it fails to close above that level, it's still going to be a risk to hold. And so if it can close above that, that'll be a signal that it's heating up and in play. And then it has to get above the middle Bollinger Band at 302. So above $3 signals the possible, you know, reversal here, and it could get an uptrend going again. If it fails to break this 250 resistance zone, it could come back down and test the 50-day simple moving average. If that fails to hold at 237, that's going to be a big red flag, and you could see a drop down to the 100-day simple moving average at 188. So it's right in between the two key levels. It has to stay above the green line, and it has to break above the pink line. It's at a flex point. One of the two are going to break on Monday. It's either going to close above resistance or drop below support. The bullish engulfing reversal pattern is signaling that it wants to head higher, so we'll see if it can follow through. Okay, let's look at CNXR. Okay, so this stock is trying to heat up. Notice it has very low volume right now. You know, and it is trading now on the OTC. So keep that in mind. You know, it's always better to trade stocks that have good volume. This has had good volume in the past. You know, there was a really big volume spike on the 23rd. You know, this is one of those delisting plays, and so it came down, dropped down to the above. So it came down, it was riding EMA 4 resistance lower, and then finally it closed above EMAs 4 and 8 on Friday, and so you've got to close above both levels, and it's hitting EMA 13 at 24. If it can break above 24, it could retest this middle Bollinger Band that was tested on Friday. And that's the key level to close above 31, and then you have this gap. There's a gap here between the bottom of this candle and the top of this candle, and so the bottom of the gap will become the target. So it's basically that's about 37. So 31 and 37 are the two key levels to break if it can get above 24. If it closes back below 20, below EMA 4, that'll be a signal it's no longer in play and a risk to hold, signaling more downside risk. There was a PSAR bull flip, and you do have bullish crossovers on both MACD timeframes with volume increasing. Okay, take a look at TEAR. This is a dead cat bounce play. Okay, so this stock had a big gap down, similar to CNXR. So this is the bottom of the or the top of the gap, the bottom of this candle, and the top of this candle is the bottom of the gap. And so the candles closed well below the lower Bollinger Band. Notice this candle on Thursday is well below the lower Bollinger Band, and so the candles were working their way back into the bands. The upper wick on Friday's candle did hit that lower Bollinger Band at 77, and so now you can see the candles working their way back in to test this EMA 4 at 83. So that's going to be the next resistance level to break. If it can close above that, then it might work its way back up to the bottom of the gap. If it fails to break EMA 4, that's going to signal more downside risk. So keep an eye on it. Once again, this looks like another bullish engulfing reversal pattern following what looks like what is that, like 8 red candles in a row. So yeah, so keep an eye on TEAR next week. And then one more to leave you with, CNXB. You know, we've been focusing on the Canadian marijuana sector, and we actually just posted a recent United States marijuana sector video. And so a lot of the stocks in the US have been heating up, and so CNBX is starting to turn the middle Bollinger Band into support here. And so what we're looking for this week is a close above this green line. That's the 50-day simple moving average, currently at 85. Notice how it tested it 3 days in a row. A close above that could signal a run up to dollar land to test the 100-day simple moving average, and that would be a signal that this uptrend is strong and that it could possibly break out higher. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis, check us out at mychartcoach.com and our YouTube channel at mychartcoach.com. Thank you.